go live at about 8:27, 8:30 Pacific time. So we are going to be sharing all about that. Make sure you follow us on Twitter and on Facebook, and of course we are on Instagram at NBCLA.
The headline is a new Emmy record set by Game of Thrones, 32 total nominations. That bests a record, an Emmy record that has stood for 25 years when NYPD Blue had so many nominations. But now 32 for Game of Thrones. For those who weren't happy with that final season, apparently the Academy was perfectly happy. It was a huge surprise that Big Bang Theory, after this enormous global success, and, it's the largest sitcom, not just in the United States, but all around the world, was in effect ignored by the Academy. And my only explanation is perhaps because Jim Parsons has not been ignored in the past, and maybe they felt, well, you know what, we've honored that series. We have nominated performers from the show. We've bestowed Emmys on performances from the show. But in a year where it was the #1 sitcom, and again, not just in the U.S., UK, Australia, all around the world, that's a true Emmy snub. The fact that Big Bang Theory received nothing for that farewell final season, maybe sometimes I think financial success comes into this, and maybe the Academy people think, boy, with these $1 million per episodes deals, they've already won, and they don't need this extra attention or claim. I think fans will feel disappointed. Big Bang Theory, great, beloved, and now denied. Well, I think the moment that's a big surprise is always this idea of perhaps critics leading the way. A lot of shows that were not widely seen, Fosse Vernon, which received nominations for its lead, I think 14 nominations in all, has not been seen. The general public hasn't seen it. It was on the air, but it was not widely seen. Escape at Denamora actually did get some viewership, but I think the Academy leads the way to a degree in pointing out peak TV. So we know Game of Thrones is huge. We know it got this record 32 nominations. What about some shows you might have missed? And I think Fosse Vernon is a very good example of that, where I was like, good for the Academy, good for alerting people to things they should not miss.
Ships the boss in the interview.
For our editors back.
Sure. There's so much content to watch that people have to make great shows, and that's what's happening. So you have all these great new shows, which I love the idea that we've actually brought in all these new shows to be nominated because they're good shows and they're great shows. So I'm excited by the newness of it. Before I was chairing things, I know people complained that the same shows got nominated over and over again, and now we're looking at a whole new package of stuff based on the quality of the shows.
All right, let's break it down. First, let me ask you, there's so much content out there. So much. How does one break it down?
I think the fact that in the last couple of years we went to complete digital voting from, hand ballots, because I think hand ballots tend to get lost sometimes and people see them and keep them on their desk. People are much more used to doing things on their computer or on their iPad or on their phone. And the ability to vote now brought in, I think, a lot more people voted. And I think that brought in a younger audience, a more diverse audience. I think it's just great that that's happened.
I think that television's had an impact on people's lives. I think it has opened up people's perspectives about issues that heretofore were kind of not talked about.
Well, I think it's laid out in front of you. I think you see the inclusionary aspect of the Television Academy. Television has always led the way in a lot of aspects with inclusion and diversity. And I think that it played out this year, especially in the nominations. I mean, we saw Anthony Anderson return to the fold, getting nominated in Blackish, Viola Davis once again being nominated for How to Get Away with Murder, and then we saw Ava DuVernay's phenom, When They See Us, get 16 nominations, a bunch of them in the acting categories, a lot of them first-time nominees, really showcasing the talent that's out there in Hollywood that a lot of times we hear people say, well, where are they? We can't find these actors to be diverse. They're right in front of you, and they're being nominated for Emmys. Place. It definitely was. You know, it's in a lot of ways, I think that we have seen this because of the Me Too movement. We've seen women really find their voices in Hollywood, whether it's in directing, writing. We saw a lot of actors also being nominated in writing categories.
Yeah, it's insane. So I think they're really really wants this show. So, but it's, I don't know, I was thinking of anyway.